I'm Jörg. I'm doing things, a lot of them.
Wow. Well, hopefully in this interview we'll discover more of the things you do. And I'm going to ask you to pick one card and answer the question.
Okay, so can you list 3 overused buzzwords by startup founders? I think it's hard. It can either be a very long list or a very short one, and my personality is not to think in dimensions of overusing. But what I have to say is that a lot of people talk about lean management, and I think it's a good idea to be lean, but it's also quite difficult to do it. And I think there are a lot of ways to be lean, and when you spend too much time talking about being lean, you're not lean. Yeah, so this would be the one answer to that. Let's try this one. Looking back at startups you met in Berlin, why do you think having your own startup is so popular these days? I have a funny answer and a serious answer. The funny answer is, when I was young, which is quite long ago, you had to have a band to get the girls. I think these days you need to have a startup.
This breaks my heart.
So yeah, I play the drums and I founded companies. So
well played, double.
And I think it's also the culture right now. It is possible to have a startup, and it's changing. At least here in Berlin, you can really make a living with starting a company, and you have like a whole infrastructure of the things you need when you start a company. So you have access to capital, you have access to really great people from all over the planet, you have access to customers and clients, and even the big corporations, they start to work with startups. They are not afraid anymore to work with a company that's only been around for 6 months or a year. The question is, can anyone transform a good idea into good business? That's a really tough question. I personally believe you need good people around you to do it. So probably not anyone can build an idea into a good business, but everyone should try to see if they can do it. Are we in a tech bubble? No and yes. No, because I think there can be a lot of companies started, and there's a lot of capital around, and the financing chain still is not overheating, at least in Germany. So we've seen some exits through IPOs, but only very few. And what I think will be super interesting to see is over the next months and years that I think there are 2 paths for companies. One path is the classic VC and exit path, where you start a company, do financing rounds, and then exit the company. And the other is like the classic German Mittelstand, building a profitable company that makes money for the investors. You need different investors to do different investors than the classic exit-oriented VC to build a company like this. The last question: how is the entrepreneurship movement affecting business education in universities? I think it's affecting it quite a bit. Together with friends, I started Unternehmerschule with ESCP, the French and European University, where we try to combine academia and practical people who do things that academia is researching, and I find it very helpful to combine those 2 disciplines. And I think a lot of universities ask themselves right now, do we really teach the things that people need to know? And entrepreneurship is, I think, at most universities it's already there, especially when they teach business administration, but it's still in the beginnings. I think there's a lot going on and a lot that has to be done.